marketing. And once you start marketing, you'll know what it is that I'm talking about. And so it's with a great deal of pleasure that I bring to you one of the marketing groups that I feel very comfortable with. And that's the folks from the surgical marketing groups, in case people wonder what the SMG actually stand for. And so without further ado, I'll let these guys present their thoughts and ideas for us. Thank you.
Awesome. Just a real quick transition intro. Nate is the founder of SMG and Remarkable Consulting, partner in many startups, marketing strategist at heart. His main focus is recruiting and aligning business development teams around early stage founders. His career stops before beginning this journey include WHEC, the Democratic Chronicle, and Hearst Media. He and his 6-year-old daughter, Penelope, live in downtown Rochester right here, and they spend a lot of time at Fuego Coffee on the weekends. Paul is partner and creative services director for SMG. He leads the merchandising and gifting programs, the coffee beverage team, and a team of 6 designers and content creators. He's been the marketing director for Izzo Golf, La Pavoni Espresso Machines, pro demo team for TaylorMade, and led sales enablement for Remax real estate team in Western New York. He lives in downtown also and spends time at Matt Druin's Real Estate Investors Coffee Club. So he is a aspiring investor himself. And with that, I am going to shut up and let them kick it.
Damn.
So let me just say,
when you say it like that, it sounds really impressive. I don't know how you did that, but thanks.
Hey, anytime.
So let me just say, yeah, that was very impressive. I mean, I certainly didn't go through those details and those words. Let me just give you the most important part. These guys are dadgum good about what they do. So if you're looking for anything associated with marketing, it's this group. So
Thanks,
give it back
Leon.
over to you.
Thanks, Leon.
Nate.
It's hard to be a great partner and client, and being able to, we met you guys through Andy, who's obviously really passionate about the space, and my partner here, Paul. We only work in areas where we have a subject matter expert that's really passionate. We're only working in real estate because it's a passion of Paul's. And then when we met Andy, when I met Andy last summer and heard what he was wanting to do with the group and his vision, we get around specialists. So it's been fun working with you guys. And from an outsider's perspective to all the members here, this board and all the team and the talent they're building around it, they are very excited about bringing more and more to the organization. So you're all very blessed. I'll shut up. I'm going to kick it over to Paul. He's been a great business partner of mine for 3 years. We met through some clients, and he brings a lot of experience to the team. I bring a lot of youthful energy, let's say. But when Paul and I started working together, people started taking me a little bit more seriously here in town when I went out on my own. So we've been very fortunate to find some senior level folks in some different areas, and Paul's been great. We've been able to build a great creative services team around him. All the designers love working with him. He can speak geek, he can speak real estate, he can speak coffee, and he only speaks when there's something really good to share. So anyway, I'll kick it over to Paul to talk about branding.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Leon, and everyone. It's been great that you've invited us here, and I'm looking forward to it again. Real estate is a passion of mine, and I do the RE Investment Coffee Club, and have many great friends there. So again, I love it, and I used to work. I was the lead manager at RPP Soul Team Remax here, which is the #1 Remax team in New York State. So I do have a real enjoyment for real estate. So just kind of want to talk quickly about our process a little bit. One of the things is really that we talk about when we're building strategy. Listening is like one of the most important things you can do, and understanding what the client's goals are, what they're looking for, where they're going. That's really important. A lot of companies will assume or jump to conclusions, but really having the great conversation to drill down and understand what are your goals and where do you want to go. So if you want to be a wholesaler, how are you going to be marketing yourself? If you are going to be, buy and hold, or you're going to be getting into, say, vacation rentals. Those are all different categories of how you present yourself and how you market and brand yourself. And then we work with a lot of great, besides people on our team, we have other teams that we work with that are specialized in SEO, specialized in different areas, videographers and so forth. So when it's appropriate, we bring them in, and basically no agency can be everything. So really, we just align ourselves with the best of the best. And when you need a certain thing, we have alignments with these people, we bring them in, and we kind of quarterback the whole process so that you get all of those things. And then, we create our winning strategies, put them down and say, okay, these are the goals, and we start working towards them. But what I want to talk about is building, it's building the brand. I mean, a brand is really important. It tells you who you are. It tells people what you do. And from a simple look of a logo or a call out, so that they understand everything about your business. But to do that, it can't just be about a logo or design. It's got to be about the social and tying it all together. So when we talk about building a brand, I put two little logos on here. If you guys look at the logos, you know exactly what these companies do. So Nike doesn't build cars. Starbucks is not into sportswear. I mean, you can see, who they are by just their logos. They've done an extremely good job of building the brand, telling the story, and people are and they're extremely consistent across the board. You'll never go into a Starbucks and get a cup that's the wrong color. You're not going to find communication from them on social media that doesn't match. And so why is it so important? It tells the world who you are. It tells the world about your business, what you do. And it helps as a differentiator, that they see your logo, they understand why you are different from somebody else. And so, putting it all together, we have to review the company, look at the look and feel that you want to have. Do you want to have sleek and elegant? Is it going to be homey in Rochester country? Or these are the things that you have to talk about, the feeling. You have to look at your competition and create yourself in a spot where you're different from the competition. And then you have to work with the creative team to build it. You build a brand standard, and then you stick to that standard on everything. So when I talk about brand standard, here's just some quick examples from clients. I work with this company called The Kiosk Guy. Here, exactly his font, what it looks like, his colors, what his logo looks like. Everything we do from now on, whether it's a business card, a flyer, a communication newsletter, all has these brand standards, and we go throughout them, or we create a brand book for something to say that you're going to be working with it's larger companies that work with agencies and so forth. So putting all that together is extremely important, and telling the story by a consistent look and feel. So right here, I have some examples of companies we worked with. Each one has a very distinctive look. And you can see over on the right, I did an infographic for a surgeon out in Los Angeles. She's got a very different look than, say, the Real-Time app, which is an app that was launched recently, or KPSK, which is a consulting company that does HR work. So when we're talking about real estate, it's really creating your brand of who you are, what it should look like, drilling it down to the type of call out, the call tag that you want to have, that when people hear it, they identify exactly with that to who you are. And what this does is, you can be small, you can be a one-man operation, but if you do it correctly, they look at that and say, everything about you is tied together, so that they feel that they can work with you because you know what you're doing. So for example, if we're going to be doing some marketing for somebody who's looking for motivated sellers, that's a big subject. Creating that hey, I buy houses, and you create it so that people understand that that's what you specialize in, finding people like them and helping them out of their situation. You create that brand, you create that look and feel, and you create the collaterals that go with it. You can brand yourself that not only do you go and find these people, but they're going to start finding you, especially through social media. And that's important to pull and to push through the marketplace, trying to bring these people in. Again, if you do vacation rentals, you can be buying properties on the Finger Lakes. You create this elegant look where you're saying, bring your family here bring your corporate event here. Eventually you'll get known for that and people will do referrals. Before long, you may not have to advertise a lot because the word of mouth gets around. Obviously you have to maintain your social, posting about what you're doing, showing everything, but tying this all together to create that brand is so important because it tells your story. It tells what you do. And if you're consistent on, again, everything from your business card to newsletters, you can see a difference. Now, I kind of want to talk back to some of the things that we've done for REIA. When we came along, we had to clarify their logo. It had some issues. And then I looked at the subgroups and said, these need to be branded. So alternative investment and housing providers both wound up having to have their own branding. This helped create, so when you see their logo, you know who they are. And a good example is on the newsletter. You see their logo, you know that that's about them. And it's very consistent what we've done through the website, the newsletter design, the infographics, and even the social media are all tied together with the same look and feel. Even the favicon, which is the little icon on your browser, there wasn't one. Now we have one and it's very consistent throughout. So it gives REIA a really strong image of what it is and what your mission and goals are. And so at this point, I want to kick it over to Nathan to talk a little bit more about social media and how things tie together.
Good deal. Thanks, Paul. Is my audio picking up here for everybody? Excellent. Excellent. Well, I get to see Paul direct a lot of those brands, and with the types of startups that we work with, and I'll talk a little bit about our branding scheme and how we've specialized, and we try to live this and be an example of what a good client should be. We try to be that for our own internal team and have a really specific differentiating scheme to set us apart from our competition or help align ourselves with who we really want to target, which we've learned as a team and honed together. But some people, I think, to just kind of add to something or piggyback of something that Paul said, is that these large brands do it. And what I find is that we work with a lot of startups that are also working with very large companies. And we get to have a front row seat to seeing the little guys work with the big guys. And what we found is that a lot of times the independent folks out there, the entrepreneurs, of which we're all entrepreneurs and salespeople in some extent in what we do, but they'll have the excuse that, well, that makes sense for the big brands. They can invest in that type of branding. It makes sense for them because they're at a certain point. And I say, no, you can't afford not to. And it doesn't mean that it's expensive. It doesn't mean that it's all these things and high level productions. What it means is it's the understanding that we have a smaller margin for error in people's attention with what we're doing. None of us have as much reach as the large brands. The type of people we're each trying to reach are very different. And what it takes is it's a commitment to being willing to say, I am going to be different enough, or I'm going to be consistent enough with who I want to do business with, how I want to do business, my lifestyle. A lot of us are lifestyle business people, which is great. We should all want to have a lifestyle in the business, whether we're starting it to get a lifestyle or we're in business and trying to change what's going on. That is all a commitment to the type of brand, which is the way you want to do business. And then things that Paul creates, and he wields all these designers and social media people, and then works with, people doing vehicle wraps or printers or the business card people or, the people working in a particular location, and making sure that none of them, we use the term, none of them are running with scissors with the brand, and especially for the independents or the small companies, because there's not that margin for error. They have to arrive with the right message, the right look. People need to recognize who they are and quickly jump to, what is this person known for? What is this group known for? And one of the ways we've seen it, this isn't really about social media. This is about branding being manifest in a lot of different sales types of activities, a lot of which right now, the last few years, and especially during COVID, are now achievable or at least consistently supported by social media. But really, these are just things that are more enabling the brand and the things that Paul talks about, setting up all your materials, the look and feel, the consistent messaging, the statements that you have written down, memorized, what you're known for. being able to articulate that, and then taking that and moving this over. And what I'll talk about is activating that. And in a startup world or a business development world, you really need to break things down into workable things. You can't just say, I am going to start a marketing plan. Has anyone said that one day, woke up on a Monday and said, this week I'm going to take care of marketing? And it's like, then you may as well just quit. Because to enable that is so frustrating. You can't, you can't steer a parked car, I could think of a bunch of terrible analogies, the centipede, the person, the grasshopper walks up and says, which leg do you start with? And you freeze. With marketing is not a thing. It's not a tactic. It's an ongoing process of taking your business and connecting your service or your business to customers, and to then a pattern of continuing that process. So marketing, where does it start? It can start anywhere. It can start, some people start it with advertising. Some people start it with sales work. Some people start it with referral marketing or word of mouth. Some people start it with direct mail, and they think that they're doing marketing. What they're doing is implementing tactics. All of them can add up to being, saying I'm doing marketing. For social media, what I want to focus on is what I like to break it down. And for an entrepreneur or someone with a small team, where they're managing a small team directly, is just getting started is first recognizing that you're committing to having some sort of a brand, and that even as the little guy, that it's still worth doing it right. If that isn't, if you're not able to say that that's how you want to do it, none of the steps matter. It's really committing to wanting to have a brand, and then all those steps for the small businesses out there to the big ones, the best practices are the same. So committing to do that. With social media, where the rubber meets the road, I'm going to break it down into 3 phases. It's setup process, figuring out just how to get started. Don't talk about ongoing, how to get started. Then think about what's actually happening. What's the content? Some of that could have been handled in a branding process, but really, what are you going to be talking about on social media or advertising? And then the third one is, what are the patterns? How are you going to build that into your lifestyle? When are you going to do it? Who are you going to do it with? What are some of the day-to-day tactics of literally when are you picking up your phone to check your messages and post on Facebook? So those 3 phases, if you have it all as pea soup, it's just confusing, and you just can't get started. So I'm going to break it down into 3 steps. And then just to make a quick little interjection is that, part of this is we're here to support the overall organization, our whole team. We don't have a huge marketing agency built in with this, but we do have a team. Paul's doing a lot of work. We want to support Andy. We want to support Leon and the board. And part of this is we have a very non-salesy, this isn't a pitch at the end kind of thing for you to hire us, but we do like to do one-on-ones and meet people in the organization. So we do have the follow-up of this is, if you want to set up a call with myself or Paul, a half-hour call in the next, say, 3 to 4 weeks, we can coordinate that through Andy. My particular session will be on, you pick any one of these sections. I can help you with a setup. I can help you talk through content or some communication patterns. So as I'm going through these, just a few bullet points for each, be thinking about where you're at. Maybe you've already set up some things and you're like, okay, what the heck do I actually talk about or get content going? Maybe you already have some of that, but you're like, I need to hone and get some better processes for communication. Or maybe you haven't even got started. You're like, I don't even have Facebook on my phone, or what's LinkedIn? I will not judge you. Paul might judge you. I will not judge you. And the session would be either, on the phone or Zoom or Google Hangout, or if you're brave, I've been vaccinated and all masked up. If you want to come downtown to the office and sit there with your phone for a half hour, 45 minutes over a Fuego coffee, that's the follow-up ask or pitch that we have for you. We really want to add value. So step 1, the setup process is pick which platforms. You cannot do them all. Again, you can't just say, I'm doing social media. Say, I'm going to do Twitter, or I'm going to learn Facebook. You may have one you're already most comfortable with. Start there. They all work. And any of the principles that you're going to learn about the patterns or the content at this point, with the tools you have, what you can learn on Facebook can help Twitter, can help Instagram, can help LinkedIn, can help any. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. A lot of these are just principles of interactions with people in different channels. The platforms are all just about the same. They're a feed with faces and some form of content. And you see it based on some algorithm of what that platform thinks your interest is. I highly recommend starting with either LinkedIn or Facebook. I'll explain why later, but start wherever you're at. But in this first phase, first pick which platforms you're going to use and keep it to 1 or 2. It can't be more than LinkedIn and something else. Or I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Great. Don't start Twitter and all that. Build that in later, but pick those. Pick up maybe 1 or 2 social media software tools. I'll talk about those. I can send you a list. You can Google those, but there are some good ones. It's good to have a couple of these consolidation or analytics tools. But until you do that first one of picking which platforms, there's enough tools baked right into those apps on your desktop or on your phone that there's a lot of baked in tools on the platforms that if you just start there, you don't necessarily need additional tools. And then the third one is organizing and actually getting it to a place. Some people really miss this, and some of these details where I'll see people, they'll log in, they'll create the accounts, they'll get all the software set up, and they don't even organize it right on their phone. It's hidden. It's these different things. When it gets more sophisticated and there's more sales tools that you might already be using for some of your, you say, if you're using Google AdWords or using some sort of a sales funnel, it really pays to spend the time to figure out what is it organized on your devices. We use a couple pieces of software. Our team uses something called Shift, which brings in a lot of our different marketing and business development and communication apps all into one place. So we're not fumbling through a bunch of browser windows, just something like that. It's $99 a year, and it has saved me minutes every hour all day long. So tons of time. Same thing with your phone. So that would be, again, the third level. Figure out, spend some time organizing your devices and making sure you can access things. And that's a session in itself, is sitting with startup founders and saying, okay, what does your day look like? What's your travel like? What tools should you use to make it easy for you to use these tools before you even get into the content and all that? It doesn't matter if it's not going to be accessible and you understand how to log in, how to know where to have your passwords, all that little peripheral stuff. Get that done early before you even get into the more sophisticated things. And be willing to ask the dumb questions about, how do I log in? How do I sync up my account? Where do I even go to get this on my phone? You just don't judge yourself. A lot of people are just where they're at. They've been doing a lot of things the right way. My goal is that in the setup process, business development people with good business savvy, I want you to understand that this is actually just old school stuff that's being empowered through new tools. The process is, if you understand the principles, you learn how to use some of the tactics in it, and you're going to feel a lot better about it than what's all this new stuff that a lot of people feel. A lot of other people feel like that. A lot of people we talk to, that's some of the first conversations, is just getting them okay with catching up and starting and getting a good foundation. So the next phase is really getting into your content. This is something that our team does a lot of for other clients. We get things set up, and then we do a lot of content development. This is, graphic design. This is building out those brand books. This is infographics. This is doing video production. All these things that a creative services agency can do. But for an independent person, there are tools and there are ways for you to determine what kind of content you want to create. What we found for the individuals, it's finding content that you can consistently do in your own course of business. We see a lot of real estate agents and investors doing videos. Matt Druin, I think someone mentioned, he's like the king of the selfie video. I see him doing a lot of those. I see others posting listings on Facebook, or some get into other forms of content, telling jokes, doing surveys, resharing other people's content with a comment on it. So picking what type of content you choose is really important. And there are great tools you can find for doing that. And I think you want to think of the content that you want to do. Think of a pie chart, and think of the customers that you are serving. Think about the things that interest them, and then think about the locations. Maybe pick a few categories, and in that pie chart of what you should be creating, and you should be thinking about a certain percentage dedicated to each of those audiences. That's the best way to break it down. So for us, I'll give some examples. For Specialist Marketing Group, we do a lot of work with surgeons, and we do a lot of work with other startup teams. So the content that we post about is things related to those industries, ongoing education that'll just be added value. We'll talk about tactics that we have found particularly helpful for those particular audiences, and maybe a third of our content is targeted at just stuff that's helpful for that target audience of ours. That's maybe a third. About a third is content about us and our team. We like talking about ourselves. It's kind of cool. It's better when other people talk about you. But it's really great when you talk about your team. I want our team to know, I want our community to know about who we are as people. So we spend, maybe 20-30% of our time, up to a third of our content time, posting about things just about the team. And that can be things that, some personal things, some things specific to each of those individuals' talents or capabilities. For an individual, that would be where you post about your personal stuff, or where you're going that week, or something going on in Rochester, or a certification. The first part, the content for your community, would be content for who your target audience is. If you're looking for properties that in the hospitality space, or if it's commercial, if it's residential, talking to those audiences, or your referrals, your referral sources, thinking of content that they like. And then maybe a third of it being, or the last third of it being, really that very detailed subject matter expert, ongoing, maybe specific to the industry. So that's where, talk about things related to New York State regulations, or new legislation, or details going on in property insurance, things related to the subject matter at hand, and pick from those things, and think of those audiences, and then just make a goal. And I get as granular as saying, pick a certain number of, if we're talking social media, or if you're talking email, or if you're talking sales calls, it's all the same. Pick a number you can commit to. For a lot of people, it's like a 3-3-3, 3 pieces of content, interact in 3 different communities, and reshare from 3 different key companies. 5, take it to 5-5-5, be even over index, or come up with a pattern or rubric, something that's memorable, catchy. It can be dorky. I like to help teams come up with whatever those internal things are, some internal acronym or a number set that you can think about your content and say, each day I'm going to do something, each day I'm going to take a step. So that's content. And really getting into the communication patterns. Think about the communities that you're reaching out to, specifically. Don't think about it as a large group. Think about very specific people in those groups. Really good branding experts talk about really naming those personas, and thinking about what you're doing for Nancy, and what you're doing for Steve, what you're doing for Brian. Name those personas of people that are either referrals for you, potential buyers, or other supportive partners, and think about what you can create that they're going to like. When it gets into creating that detailed content that actually promotes you and is more sales related, that's a little more sophisticated, and that's only really relevant once this brand foundation has been built. It doesn't really pay to do lead gen and paid ads and things like this until this foundation is set up. Those things come after knowing what good content is, because a great way to lose money is pay for the promotion, pay for ads, pay for clicks, if what you're sending them to is disjointed. If you don't have what Paul talked about, brand standards, where your stuff looks and feels a certain way, and if it's consistent, it doesn't have to look a particular way. It doesn't have to be any of those particular styles. It needs to be something that is going to fit you, and that people can consistently recognize you for. And then when you do invest in things to drive more traffic, you're not leaving, you're not leaving money on the table. You're going to have fewer people get the wrong expectation, where they're expecting, they're looking, or they're searching, and then they click on your ad, and then they go and they don't find what they need. They don't find a lot of in-depth information. They don't get to know who you, or what your process is, or what differentiates you, and they go away. The best way to lose money, and when I talk to people that have spent money on advertising and lost their shirt, it's most likely, I've seen, that they have shortcutted the process, and they've tried to get the low-hanging fruit without doing the foundational, principle-based work. And if there's anything that we can impress, there's on anyone getting started, it's that those things are not unachievable to the little guys out there. They're more important than they are to the big companies. We need to be more consistent with it. And the barrier of entry of that is just getting a pattern. I have an example here over second quarter. We just started second quarter. I feel like we just started 2021. I've been telling everyone that 2020 annexed 2021. And I feel like second quarter, we're in 20. I think we just had a New Year's celebration, guys. It's April 1st. Congratulations. first quarter was a complete shit show, wrapping up all this craziness, people finally coming out of the woodwork, investing, getting startups that were getting funding last year that got put on pause in June are getting deals going again. So a lot of this is happening. It's a great time to be in real estate. And second quarter is a great time for any of you to decide, hey, I'm going to be a marketer now. I'm not going to just be this independent person looking to find a place or find a vertical or find a channel. You can be your own brand entity. Okay. Knowing what I know, very little in real estate, but from what I know about the organization and from the support and from knowing some of the key members here in town, is that you have an amazing organization to plug into. You can take some steps over the next 3 months. If you were to just break it down and say, April, I'm going to focus on setting up my foundation, figuring out what those platforms are, testing, doing a Google search a couple times a week on what platforms are going to get you the most bang for your buck. That could be something we talk about in our session. Take the month of May to figure your content. Look at different styles. Think, can I get a tripod and set up my phone and do those selfie videos that I see others doing? Try it out. Can you do some Facebook Lives? Can you build some content or write a few posts about some of your principles of how you want to do business and come up with a top 10 list? Spend the whole month of May just working on that. Don't even try to scale it. Don't try to just figure out what that is. And in the month of June, get into, now you have the platforms, now you have the content, get into figuring out how you can create some replicable patterns and build a pattern for yourself. By that time, by that, say, 8 to 10 week mark, I'd say at that point, I can say with some confidence, at that point, you may be ready to spend money on ads and drive some more traffic and boost a post to get another few hundred views and get a few more phone calls. Those are things that's crawl, walk, run. It's really fun. What we love is helping teams figure out a lot of these internal resources themselves. We are here for hire for companies where it makes sense, but half of our business is figuring out how to build these strategic teams using the resources already there, or like no budget, by training, by finding groups, by aligning, startup founders and independent people with resources that they need. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, if you want to figure out how to build some materials for your brand, if that's print, direct mail, digital, web, talk to Paul, set up a time with him. Also, again, our office is available. It's been available during COVID season. People aren't doing meetings, but we have when times were different, and hopefully again sometime in the future. We have our space here downtown. So if anyone wants to stop by the office and get some time with anyone on our team, just let us know. And we have some time for questions. Hopefully the ramblings were somewhat helpful. We're really passionate about what we do, and we believe in the little guys getting out there and making a mess and using these tools. So if we can help you in any way, we're here for you.
I just turned off the PowerPoint, but thank you guys. Awesome stuff. Working side by side with you for the last 6 months has been great. There's been a lot of hopefully people on this call have seen the stuff on Facebook and some of the stuff on LinkedIn and Twitter. But everybody's business is a little bit different, and these guys are great at kind of figuring out that niche. So with that being said, we did get a question in the chat about LinkedIn specifically, and I sort of fielded it, as far as paying for premium if you're just starting to use it. If you're looking to build your network, or you're looking to recruit, or you're trying to find a job, it's not a bad thing, but take the freebie. I always take the freebie every year as a sales tool. Take it or leave it. I cancel it as soon as it's done, or maybe they offer 2 months at half price. I'll take it for that, and then I'll kill it, and I'll use it to build my network and to sell. If you're looking for it to boost your posts, it does not work that way. It's not like Facebook where you have a paid ad and it shows up in people's feeds. You pay for LinkedIn, you're paying to use it as a sales tool or a recruiting tool. It's a different animal, but I'll let these guys who do it every day dig in.
I built my career on LinkedIn, guys. I saw that the person that interviewed me for my job at Channel 10 11 years ago left for an agency, and I saw that on LinkedIn. I messaged my who ended up being my boss, and 10 days later I was working there. I got a lot of really cool things from using the tools on LinkedIn just to see the professional connections. Bang for the buck. It is some of the best time you can spend in social media. A lot of the others are great, supporters of that once you build your network, but to break into things and get things going, the tools that LinkedIn gives you, the free ones and then the couple levels up, are just unbelievable. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Andy. And I just dropped my link, and we could drop Paul's link in there too. If any of you want to connect with us, we'd love to connect.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
I'll let, oh, somebody's trying to speak, but she's muted. I thought, maybe not.
While they're unmuting, I do highly recommend the premium LinkedIn. It's worth every penny. Try the get your feet wet on the free stuff, obviously, but it's been worth every penny. Gives you a lot of tools.
And I will ask about the target market and identifying, kind of who you're going with and where they're working. These guys have been great with REIA as far as figuring out who we wanted to speak to. And some of it was definitely LinkedIn, but there was actually surprisingly more on Facebook than there was on LinkedIn, which sort of, I think, blew everybody's minds a little bit. But adapt and overcome, I think, was the message there. Figure out how to get it in front of people and how to target the right audience. And we're sort of weirdly restricted at REIA on how we do our advertising because of how Facebook looks at housing, period. Even if you're not advertising a place to live and you're not advertising credit directly or offering a sign up for financing, they put you in this weird box. So,
you know how many posts have gotten kicked back from REIA the first couple months? A lot. Anything housing, finance, credit, employment, there's a lot of scrutiny as to what you can do. So we experienced that earlier. I think we kind of ironed it out, but that was something I remember back late summer, early fall. It is interesting, but yeah.
And I know we have people who are looking for, I mean, they wouldn't be in the meeting if they didn't want to learn something. So I'm going to just shut up for a second and refill my beer. And if you don't have a drink, now's a good time, because this is where the networking and the asking questions starts. So make sure you have alcohol.
Yeah. Paul and I have coffee mugs. You don't actually know what's in here here at SMG. We have a great office. And when we're 2 doors down from the Vesper. So we got coffee around, Fuego coffee around the corner, Vesper a couple doors down. So, but yeah, if anyone ever wants to stop by, and we like to walk down the street and get drinks with clients, so that would be a great excuse for us. So feel free. Any questions?
Well, Nathan.
Yeah. Leon, hit us with something.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sort of, and you covered part of it already, but just to maybe outline it in maybe a succinct way. I'm a new guy, just starting off doing real estate investing, want to get my name out there, want people to understand that I'm looking to do those fundamental pieces associated with real estate, where I build a buyer's list, and I want people to know that if someone has properties, then I want them to sell it to me, and so that I could actually get my business started, because for a lot of folks that's the first step. You have a lot of things that are going on that are associated with Facebook and Twitter and all those sorts of things. So could you just sort of outline for me, as a very new person just starting off, trying to sink my teeth into social media so people know more about me? What are some of the first steps that you would suggest?
I think the easiest way to do it is to piggyback on it's going to be an old school type of way. It's first find the people. It's going to be people first. It's the team, then the dream is one of the corny analogies, but you find the group, you find so that you can go in parallel. One of the things we do with a lot of our startups is when we get them into social, we might be building their company page, getting a couple of their founders or salespeople set up on social media or some digital tools, and we'll find someone that's going a similar direction. So what I say to it, if it's an independent person, find 2 other consultants doing something similar that you can articulate the slight difference. So if it's someone doing this type of commercial, find someone doing a different type of commercial. If you've got a niche, find someone that you can go shoulder to shoulder with and find what they're doing. And it's birds of a feather. So it's join a couple of their social media communities and just show up. I mean, it's usually an answer that people are like, no, but tell me more. With social media, it's just like going to a physical networking group. You start showing up for that BNI at 7 o'clock on Wednesday mornings, which, bless your heart, I hope none of you are doing that right now. That seems so rough. But you do the BNI, you show up, right? You get your bagel, you get ready to do your stand up. Like, social media is a digital version of showing up. There isn't a shortcut. Decide where and when you'll show up. Do it with a person. So if I'm saying real estate, it's me. I'm going to stalk Andy McQuaid here. I'm going to see all the posts he likes. I'm going to hit follow on all of them. And 3 times a week, I'm going to log in. I'm going to check what Andy's doing. I'm going to check what David Martin's doing. I'm going to see what Matt Druin's doing. And then that afternoon, I'm going to try to do something similar. I mean, it's social media has this stigma of some of the shortcut stuff that's so sophisticated blinds us from the crawl, walk, run. So the first principle is you need to find some places with some actual people you can meet and show up and say, what are some groups? What are some feeds? And then there's some things you can do after that. You start to find, maybe you get into tagging, finding some local hashtags, things like that. And again, after a couple of those, you could get a little bit more of an idea of, you'll know what efficient time is on social. Also, the problem is with people getting started is up till that point that most of their interaction with social has been wildly inefficient use of time. Just, this is our association is like, how could this be effective for business? And so we're just clouded from all the great tools of how we could get in and build a pattern, or how we can, create content and posting schedules or posting in the groups. We just don't have those. So I'd say the first step is, just kind of show up in those groups and build a consistent pattern.
Can I add to that as well?
No way.
Well, one of the things is, of course, Nathan talks about making a plan, and it's also making a plan for your business. Now, for example, you're looking for motivated sellers. So, it's obviously a lot of people go to the MLS, but at that point, there's not a lot of the deals out there. So maybe you might be doing driving for dollars. If you're doing that, then you really need to have a packet of information. Again, a flyer, your card, the branding is spot on, where you can knock on a door or leave it there and find out and tell them, think in their point of view of what someone who is in that position. You drive, you see the house is having, gutters are falling off, needs paint, overgrown. There's an issue of some type, whether it's an elderly person, someone who can't pay the mortgage anymore. You knock on the door, give them some type of a sheet that talks about, I can help you out of this situation. We can buy your house. And, instead of having the bank foreclose on this person, they could actually leave the house with some cash in their pocket and go to the next step of their life, and you're helping them. So communicating that through and reinforcing that as part of your brand. This is what I do. This is, connecting it to the social media to be putting it out there, because people will see the ads, and if someone's in trouble, they may forward to their friend and say, this guy looks like he could help you. Having a branded collateral where everything is, you spot the situation, you explain the points of what you can do, and the results is you help them. That's how you may be able to pick up that motivated seller. So creating all of these things together, along with the social media, the collaterals, and creating the plan. And of course, there's also technology. There are some great apps out there for driving for dollars and some other things that can help you keep this all organized and, very effective. But again, looking like you're larger than you are, looking like you're totally together, is really kind of an important part for a person starting out, because it's about trust. That person is going to sell you their house. They have to have a certain level of trust.
Great points. Yeah, I think that point about trust, that's something that I think on social media, a big thing that the added value of it, whatever else you're doing, if you have good social media presence that's on brand, it immediately speeds up people's ability to trust you. You know, if you don't have a profile, it seems stupid, but if you don't have a profile that has consistent information, or if you have a profile that's out, it'd be better to not have it at all than have something that you haven't committed to and partial information, or a web page that's, you know, so those types of things are just, you know, they just manifest themselves with digital now, but those are just old tried and true things. So Andy, thanks for setting this up. Leon and Susan, and I'm seeing all the names of who all is on here that I kind of know, but thanks for thanks for letting us be on here. We mean everything we said. If any of you reach out, some have just reached out on LinkedIn, Marianne and some others I see. Thanks for connecting. Would love to keep in touch with all of you, and hopefully if this was somewhat helpful, we'd love to do it again. We would, we'd do it again, bring on maybe some other people you can actually learn something from our team, maybe one of our actual social media people and not me. A web designer. I'm thinking of Doug. I'm thinking of some of the other people. We're all here to help and add value, and just encourage you to stick around the campfire here that you have. They're doing a lot of things to make a better organization and provide a lot of value. So we're glad we get to be part of it. So
thanks for coming, guys. It is appreciated. You guys are knocking it out of the park. And this meeting usually we last until sometimes up to 9 o'clock.
Cool.
But for yeah, right. But for this particular topic, I guess the next, I'm gonna call somebody out who has branding that people recognize, who's on the call, because he does a lot of wholesaling in Rochester, and he's the billboard guy. And now he's looking at the camera and rolling his eyes and wondering why I'm talking about him as he's laughing. But Joe La Barbera, 855 Joe Buys, he's the branding king, and I've seen him with his videos on Facebook recently. So I mean, Joe, how's that work for you?
We see you, Joe.
Are you wasting your money, or is your branding and your advertising making you money? How's it going?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's working. It's just, I mean, I knew I had to, because obviously properties are scarce. Everybody knows that. So I figured, why don't I do a little bit above and beyond? You can never brand too much, I guess.
Right.
And
I love it.
My main thing is just to be able to get out there. That's all I want to do. And one of the things that I was actually going to ask you guys was, especially like, what do you guys recommend a certain percentage in regards to what you allocate certain parts of social media for? Or do you a certain percentage of the time going into LinkedIn or anything like that? I mean, that's another thing too, because obviously I've been doing the social media, and we do all kinds of other types of networking. The networking, all the social media brings right back to the networking part. That's how people come to you. And that's one of the things I've always wondered were there certain percentages you guys allocate, or you guys think?
There definitely are. We do it in a couple layers. One is when we're working a strategic plan that our team is going to be fulfilling, that our designers, our social and so forth, we do go through with a fine tooth comb, and we say, if it's based on an X per month budget or a lump sum, we say, we're going to go in with a fine tooth comb and specifically be able to say, we're not just throwing money at marketing. We're doing, 15 of that is going towards social media content for this. Of that, a third is going to link. So we will, for our plans we do, and we encourage an independent person in, say, that third section of the communication patterns. That's where you're going to want to look and set up. Your time might be different for certain things. Each vertical is a little different. We found that the medical offices, they spend a lot more time on Facebook and Instagram than LinkedIn. LinkedIn only for some that are doing certain types of referrals. Is it really even, it's just kind of have it there. They spend most of your time there. There's some broad strokes, like, some industries spend more time here than others. for things we're doing in retail automation. We do things with startups and food and beverage that are selling things to concessionaires. Like none of them care about everybody. All those are on Facebook, but that's secondary or tertiary. That's LinkedIn, and that's, direct mail pieces with a digital follow-up. The mix is going to be different. I think the general mix here for most small business owners is going to be a LinkedIn, and then either pick your ad on, pick your Instagram or Facebook, and then get into those others from there. Keep it really simple. Just think of it as 2 or 3 things you're going to put. The main thing, put 50% of your time into, and then the others fill in and split up, say half of it, the other half. That's what I do as a baseline for, say, LinkedIn. Okay, that's a great question. Everybody's split is different. Joe, I've known of you for years. I'd love to meet up sometime. We have some projects that are doing some out of home, so this is great to see you on there. And Andy, thanks for calling them out.
I couldn't wait for this. I was looking forward.
We do a lot that's not, we're full service. We do things from sales to traditional and all that. But as a primarily digital guy, I can say I love out of home. I love, display and billboards. There's a lot of great things at a certain level that if you have the right setup, that can be wildly effective to send volume to things if you have the right foundation. So yeah, Joe, thanks for saying hey.
No, thank you. You kidding me? Every time I talk to new people, like, what should I do? And I tell them, I go, you're gonna have to go social media. And a lot of them are like, well, this and that. And I tell them, I go, yes, it's gonna cost you. At the same time, the reward you're gonna get from it gonna more than outweigh what it's gonna cost you. So social media is, you absolutely have to be in it. And you guys are doing a great job. So,
Thank you.
That's why I was excited about getting on this tonight and hearing from you guys.
Good deal.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I can share one more little story, but I just have to share that my phone call before this was actually one of our groups is looking into a property actually down in Philadelphia. We're pretty excited about it. And I've been listening in because I'm the noob and I don't know what's going on, but I do listen in to see what's happening because it affects a lot of our teams and all that. Well, I was looking for some more subject matter expert help, and I saw I'll mention Dave Martin again. He posted on Facebook the other day, hey, our team, Matt and I on our team, we're looking to acquire more commercial properties. If you or any of your network are looking, well, you know what I did? I sent him a direct message. I forwarded it to 3 people. I had a phone call with him. And he I think has 2 more leads coming in from the people I sent him. And I just I almost forgot to mention that I was doing the same thing. We were talking all sophisticated, and I almost forgot to say, my buddy in real estate posted on Facebook and got leads. There's a lot of value stories and just the simple thing of just communicating that out on these tools. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to talk about a good local value story, but it's some of this is just being out there and getting known for stuff. Joe's doing it, Dave's doing it, Matt's doing it. Some of these other people we know are doing it. And I think that's what all of you here can do as well. So again, we're here to help. I got a hot date I got to get out of here for. An hour of real estate, my mind's going to explode. So I'm going to leave you all to it. But and Paul also thanks for setting this up. Paul's been managing the team that's building around this. So I don't take a ton of credit for it. I just show up and help support him, but Paul's leading the team to do it. So all that credit from Leon and Andy really go to him. And we just kind of help set it up. So
and they're a fun group to work with. I enjoy our calls, our weekly calls. I look forward to because we cover a lot of great stuff and have a few laughs. And it's just you have a great team on your side supporting you all. So hats off to them.
I see Carl turned his camera on. Nate, thank you for coming. We appreciate it greatly. But Carl unmuted himself and turned his mic on, I think for the first time all night. So I'm wondering what burning question Carl has for us.
I got a question. This is awesome between Paul and Joe. Now, Joe, you had a awesome 4-year billboard campaign, brick and mortar, right? And I'd be interested to know the results of that in terms of data compared to Paul kind of that marketing program. in terms of, internet, social media. Joe, if you can talk about the results of your billboard campaign, which is brick and mortar, different from Paul and Nathan's campaign. Elaborate on that.
Obviously I do more with social media, because obviously it's getting out there more. One of the things that I liked about the billboards, because my cards look exactly like my billboard to a T.
Yeah.
And so whenever I hand them, they go, "Oh yeah, you're the billboard guy." So that way
He's
they
doing it
know
right. He's doing it right.
That's your branding right there.
Oh, coming off the street. They actually know I can figure if he has a billboard, he can actually buy my house. So it just adds.
It's the big things, and that's such a great example. Such a great example. We didn't plan that, guys.
Which one? Joe? Which one's more effective, if you can say, social media or brick and mortar? Is
social media? Absolutely.
Okay.
Because you're going to get out there more. I mean, it depends what you're looking for. If you want to brand yourself, yeah, you can brand yourself. At the same time, financially, your financially results will do a heck of a lot better with social media.
I think it's more about when is each effective. Again, as a digital person, I have told people, don't spend money in the Facebook ad, do the direct mail piece that sends them to a website. We don't have an agenda on which. It's really when. Carl, that's a great question. And it'll be different at different times when there's a launch or seasonally. It's when and for how long, I think is really that's what we've come to, because we're always having to do these comparisons. There's only so much ad budget to go around for any client. And we're like, when is it best to do certain things? So look for those layers, and the timing of it, I think, is where the magic's at.
So Nathan,
Also, Carl,
are you saying that there's a combination here, or is it fully social media?
Carl, it's actually is a combination, because a billboard is an awareness program, and it's a big I'm here, and people see it over and over again, right? But then they're on their phone and all of a sudden they see a posting and say, oh, that guy. Now, if you notice, he was very clear. His card looks like his billboard. Okay, so that's him. All right. And if we do a mailer, it's going to look like, it better look like the card. And if we're going to do a door hanger or something like that, it has to look like the card that looks like the billboard, because that is him. That is his brand. And so it all works in tandem. So you have to have social media, because that's, especially the younger buyer, that's where they are. But the billboard is effective as you drive by, because it's, oh, I know who that looks like. And then all the other things fall into play. And you're always constantly moving and changing things. So say you may be heavy in Facebook for a while. Well, you know what? You're do a lot of, say, really great flips. Okay. Well, Pinterest might be an area where you start putting things in, because it's extremely visual. Pinterest is actually one of the largest search engines. People don't realize that, but women put in wedding dresses, kitchen remodels. And if your house just came in flipped and people see that, you can find buyers, or you could find motivated sellers to say, this guy knows what he's doing. So it's a combination, and you're always kind of testing and moving back and forth.
Awesome.
Yeah, social media is a great enhancement, and it's like trying to put a metric on, like, well, how effective is trust in advertising? Social media just adds that extra layer. Most of it can be done for free as well, for a time metric, but it just adds that value to anything else you're doing. It could drive up the conversion rate on a direct mail piece if done properly, and which gets credit. It's just they all have to work in tandem. I think the best thing to ask for about the ROI is when you are spending dollars on ad promotion and getting transactions, if you can summarize it to comparative transactions, say, well, at which point of the funnel is it more effective? Some things are going to be much better at the top of the funnel if you're tracking total leads and process, total deals in mid, and then total closings or repeat referrals bottom pass through the funnel. There's different platforms that you're going to want to match up with each layer.
Well, let's ask Joe. Social media versus brick and mortar, what's been more productive for you?
What was that again?
Brick and mortar, like the signs out there, versus social media, what's been more productive for you?
I think it's been social media more than anything else. you know, the signs just brand me. It gives me credibility, but credibility obviously can lead to sales, but when the short term credibility doesn't put money in your wallet, you know what I mean? My whole goal is to just bring people in, as many as possible. So whether it be through social media, whether it be through letters, mailings, whatever, that's just the main goal. And just like everyone's been talking about, it's just, it's putting everything together, and I mean, because I went to go look at a couple of properties today, and the lady goes, "Hey, I remember this." I said, "Yeah, that's me." She goes, "Oh." So she was very relaxed, and hopefully I'll be able to pick up 2 properties, once I speak to her and her brother. But it gave her confidence, saying, "Wow, this guy knows, he's actually the real deal."
To that point too, at the end of the day, it's the whole package, right? So it's not one or the other working better. It's having that foundation that then ties everything together at the top so that they all work together, regardless of where that actual lead or referral or whatever it is come from. It comes down to being recognizable and being a brand. So, it's a little bit of everything. I think I don't think it's one over the other, but there's this abundance mindset, right? Google it. There's a ton of books about it in business and consulting and everything else, where if you're constantly focused on that one that got away, and you're damaged by the fact that, you call 50 people and 49 of them say no, that you're done and you're over and you walk away. But when you're looking at the abundance mindset, okay, well, if I called 50 today, I can call 50 tomorrow. I can call 50 on Wednesday. I can call 50 on Thursday. I can call 50 on Friday. And if I get 1 a day, well, I got 5 this week. That's the difference between that whole, starvation or feast mentality. And if you're stuck in starvation mode, everything is going to seem like a slap in the face, and you're going to get discouraged and you're going to walk away. Abundance is get in front of as many as you can, because it's a numbers game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that last statement you made, Andy, is one of the key pieces. A lot of people get into real estate because they see an infomercial on TV or something, and they think that they are able to get in and be successful by doing little or no work. And that's just not the way it is. Can you be successful by doing a few properties here or there? Sure you can. It all counts on where your bar is and how high you think that you need to be, for sake of better words, successful and able to do those things that you need to do from a dollars and economic standpoint. So that really translates into, well, how far do I have to go? And how far you have to go is really determined by the number of people that you get out there, the number of people that you get your face in front of. And so you're not doing a hobby associated with real estate. You're really doing a business. And that's what this piece is really about. It really is about how you take social media and you use social media and things like LinkedIn and Facebook and all those things to allow you to be more successful. Because it's not so much of a competitive thing as much as it is other folks who are successful at doing real estate investing. They're going to be looking at, well, what is it that I need to do so that when I get a chance to go to a deal where I can get a property at a decent price. So yeah, and particularly for people who are relatively new, for sake of better words, to the real estate investing arena, this is a part of what we talked about in the beginning, which is marketing. And over the last 20 years or so, you can go further back if you want to. I'll stop there. One of the things that happens is people used to say, oh, okay, I need to do direct mail and I need to send out how many direct mail items to folks. And that's the way it was back then. And you would set up your budget and you would decide, okay, here are those things that I need to do and which areas am I gonna hit, and am I gonna go after pre-foreclosures, or am I gonna go after people who have vacant houses? It's the same sort of thing, but at a little bit different level, because now you're on the World Wide Web with internet, and you're trying to look at how is it that I can get my name out there so that people understand what I'm presenting so that I can be successful as a real estate investor. So in my mind, that's sort of where things are, and it is all about marketing. Because all the pieces we talked about is marketing, and how successful you're going to be at marketing is it really outlines where you're going to end up at. When we started the discussion off, it was about Starbucks and companies at that level, and what they do is they do a very, very good job about marketing. So I really think that the information that we got is good. I mean, one of the challenges for people is where is the starting point for me. I think that Powell and Nathan did a good job of outlining that. And it's one of those things that you just have to start, and you have to recognize that without the marketing piece, it's going to be really, really tough for you to be as successful as you would need to be, particularly if you're going to quit your 9 to 5. Okay.
To that point, and this will be the last thing I say before I let Scott talk about how he's going to talk for us next month and pitch his thing he's doing this week. But you have to keep in mind that when you're going into a business, if it's a business and not a hobby, you build a team. You don't screw around with your lawyer. You don't screw around with your accountant. You don't screw around with a coach or a mentor or an advisor. If you're not a salesperson or a marketer by trade, why wouldn't you have a team that's qualified to help you? Like it is an expense, but it's also a write-off, and it does drive top line sales, which impacts your net income at the end of the day. So, I mean, if you're a landlord, you can use marketing to find tenants. If you're a wholesaler, you use marketing to find sellers. If you're a flipper, it's a little bit of everything. Why wouldn't you be interested in doing better? No man is an island. I don't know everything. I hope that nobody in this room knows everything. If you do, you're probably in the wrong room. And I think that's true everywhere in business. So, just keep it in mind, because everybody needs a hand up once in a while.
So you're going to introduce?
No, I was just going to let Scott start talking. I figured, he's probably fed up right now.
Yeah, let me give him a little bit of intro.
Thanks, Liam.
So that good friend of mine, going back more than 1 or 2 or 3, 10 or even 15 years. But basically, for the May general meeting, our good friend Scott Spears is going to be talking about storage units and how it is that he has, his career from a real estate investment standpoint has went through several different phases. The key thing about it is he has been very successful at each one of those phases. I still need to get with him and figure out some of the things that he has done associated with rent to own, and because he was dynamite with his rent to own approach and how he did those things. But over time, he built up a portfolio and decided that there was a niche that he was going to go into that he felt a lot more comfortable with, primarily from 2 perspectives. Because when you look at real estate investing, it can be about the money, or it can be about the free time. For Scott, I think, and he'll correct me if I'm wrong, it was, okay, he's able to cover the money piece of it, but I know it's about the time a bit because he spent the last 6-9 months driving all around America looking for storage units and doing storage units. And so our meeting that's coming up next month in May is going to be Scott actually telling us about all those things that he's done. And as I mentioned in the last meeting, some of those things are really sort of out there a bit because he's going to talk about self-directed IRAs a bit and how he used his option with self-directed IRAs to be successful in his storage unit. So I really can't wait, okay, to hear all the specifics and particulars of it. So Scott, tell us a little bit about things and what your thoughts are.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Leon. That was a very nice intro from you. I appreciate that. Andy said, if you know everything, you're in the wrong room. And next month, I'm going to talk about self-storage. I know a few things about self-storage. I certainly don't know everything, and everybody I talk to, they don't know everything, but we all know little pieces, just like this group. We all know a little bit. We share the information. And Leon's been after me to do a presentation, and I'm going to do it in May. Been a little busy traveling and learning more about self-storage. We left Rochester November 13th of 2020, sold our house, sold 90% of our contents. Thank you everybody here who bought some of the contents. We appreciate that. And we've been traveling ever since, my wife and I, full-time in an RV. We live in a 300 square foot RV now. And we traveled all the way to California. We were there for Thanksgiving, went to Denver for Christmas, came back, got to stay in Houston, Texas. Man, we're going back there, let me tell you. We were there for a little bit over a week. Can't wait for COVID to let the big rodeo start there because we're excited to go see the rodeo there. And but yeah, with self-storage, I got into it, got serious about it about a year ago. And in just a short year, through partnerships and everything, I've acquired, I got 4 facilities, over 350 storage units, and over 60,000 square foot. And that's in 4 states across the country. And so I'll be speaking next month at the general meeting, giving you some tips and tricks and answering questions and hanging around for a bit too. One big thing, next week I've been asked to speak at the Storage Investor Nation Summit. I'm going to be one of the speakers. It's going to be pretty big. They're going to have 40 different speakers there. They're going to have 500 attendees. It is virtual. It's for 3 days. It runs from the 15th to the 17th. The neat thing about this is they're going to, if you go and register, they're going to have blocks. They're going to show when different presenters are presenting. So it's not like you have to sit on there for all 3 days. You can just come on. If there's a couple things you want to check out, you just come on at that time. It is $197 normally, but if you use a promo code, they actually gave me a promo code to use for anybody I invite. And if you put in SPEER, SPEER as your promo code, you get $100 off. So it's going to be $97, and you can get 3 full days of different speakers talking everything from people who do marketing, people who are brand new, people who don't own units, up to people who own 1 million square foot of self-storage and everything in between. So I highly suggest you check that out. I'll put the link in the chat box, and you can hit me up later. You can call me, you can email me. Sit on that summit. It'll really help propel you a little bit. Even if you're only a little bit interested, it's going to be good. And then I'll be doing a follow-up in May at the general meeting. I'm excited to do that. Like I said, I have tons of experience in other forms of real estate, but this one's new for me. And but in just a short year, because of partnering up with some really good people, I've been able to acquire and build a decent portfolio. I don't have any tenants. I don't have any toilets. It's a lot of fun, and it's good. I'll tell you more in May. So tell all your friends, if they've never been to FREIA, come in May, join it, promote it. Let's form some partnerships. I mean, there's no reason a bunch of us can't get together and buy a storage unit and, partner up on it, So if you have friends, family members want to join, great. I'm going to talk about self-directed IRAs. If you have some people with retirement money that want to invest in real estate, but don't want to be active, they want to be passive and maybe loan money to you, I'll talk a little bit about that too. Other than that, I don't know what to say. I'm excited to do it. And I love talking self-storage, and my wife gets tired of hearing me talk about it. So I'm going to talk to you guys about it. So, so thanks, everybody.
Super. Thank you. Andy.
Hello, Leon. I'm here.
Okay.
I have one slide left, unless anybody has questions for Paul, which I don't know. I think we've spent his ear enough today. I have a slide and I'm going to put up. Give me 2 seconds to actually get the stupid thing shared because I got a 2-step thing. All right. So there it is. That is not the right slide. Darn it. Let me fast forward because that did not go as planned.
While he's doing that, I'm going to, hey, Paul, thanks for doing this presentation. Paul and I know each other from the Real Estate Coffee Club. And Paul is somebody who, man, he just kept marketing for real estate. He never gave up. And I was always impressed with his tenacity in marketing. And I'm glad to have him present. And I will say I've noticed some changes and improvement in FREIA and the promotion of it. And thank you very much, Paul, for doing that.
Thanks, Scott. Good to see you. And I've enjoyed your travels, but following you online, and of course, social media. And it's been fun to watch where you are as you're traveling around. But now I have a passion for real estate and for marketing. So to me, it's a fun, for me, I have more fun doing this than you can imagine.
Nice.
Thanks.
All right. So that being said, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Meetup. That's where we post stuff. We post meeting times. We post meeting dates. We post agendas. We post updates. Paul's people have access to all of those accounts and post things for FREIA. So keep in touch because it's not just stuff about the meetings. They're posting infographics. They're posting news articles that are relevant to the industry. They're posting all kinds of stuff about FREIA as an organization, and it's worth following. We sent a survey out twice to, I think, 1,700 people between Monday and Tuesday, both in our newsletter and separately, asking for some help because we're trying to find places for in-person meetings. We're trying to find volunteers to help to operate said meetings and do some planning and some other stuff. So please respond. Even if you can't help now, let us know that there might be something in the future, because I've gotten a few messages from people who want to do more, but are strapped right now for various reasons, but maybe 6 months down the road, we'll have the time to do so. Any and all information is welcome. Whitelist our stuff because it may be going to spam. If you don't know how to do that, it's different for every single system you use. But if you see it in spam, the general rule is right click on it and click not spam or not junk or don't put this here. It doesn't belong. And then the next meeting is actually one that is being operated by both Scott and Joe Lamabera on Thursday at 7 p.m. And this is a weird month because it's a 5 Thursday month. So we have meetings the first 4 Thursdays, and then the 5th Thursday, everybody gets a day off. So I don't know if Joe or Scott has anything they want to say about that meeting, but there it is. And then if we want to go to Kumo Space, it exists. It is something Paul created for us for the Christmas party. Totally welcome to use it if you so desire. However, not mandatory. Just a place to hang out. It's a little bit of a different networking space. It's more like traditional in-person networking. We were really desperate. It's still in beta, so we ask you to use Chrome as your browser and go there. It does not function well on phones. It just doesn't. I don't care if it's an iPhone, an iPad, an Android, or an Android tablet. it will jack up your day if you try to get in there with it. Use a computer, use Chrome, go there. That's going to be your easiest functional usage. And it's really easy to find. It's REIA meetings, all one word. Just go kumospace.com, REIA meetings, takes you there. You can log in. Joel Ababera can figure it out. He's been there like a dozen times now. If he can do it, you can do it. I'm just saying. So that's it. I'm done. I'm going to shut up now and turn off the slide. If we want to go over to Kumo Space, I'll probably go there. It's only 8:30. I'll probably go there for a few minutes.
Can you put in the chat box the link?
I will.
Thank you, sir.
Uh-huh.
I'm simple. I need that. I'm like
I know, but when you close Zoom, it disappears. So you gotta open it first, then close Zoom. Because if you close Zoom, you lose the link.
Okay.
Yeah, so just want to say thank you for everyone for being here. And for those who go over to Kumo Space, I may or may not be able to go there. Just some more networking where you can talk about real estate investing and some of the things that you want to do, and seek and receive help for your thoughts and ideas on how you might be successful as a real estate investor. So thanks again, and we appreciate everyone being here this evening. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.
Yes, thank you, Paul.
Thank you. You too.